The Wizard Monkey is a tower that's gotten some attention recently due to its solid performance in the meta and also has a camo detection option with a low cost. I ran a poll to see which strategy guide the community was seeking most, and out of the options listed, the Wizard was the most voted. So in this video, I'll cover some of the most commonly used strategies for the Wizard, some of its history in Battles 2, and some of the Wizard's strengths and weaknesses, both as a defensive tower and a camo detection option for players to climb up the rank ladder. Just for some of the general baseline metrics for Wizard, it can solo the first 18 rounds by itself easily with the early game. It has some trouble around round 12 due to the purple camos and purple balloons in general, but overall it's a strong tower. It can win you most of your games when climbing rank ladder. Most games can end before round 22. Wizard's really good at those rounds. It's got solid early game defense, solid mid game camo detection and defense, and it falls off a little bit late game, but I can get into that later. But now let's get into its place in the meta. So Wizard's place in the meta is not that common, not that popular. It competes for a space on the team, usually with the camo detection slot. And the most popular camo detections are usually the Village and the Submarine. Submarine's really strong in the current season, but Wizard can actually be used as an interchangeable with Submarine if you need more early game economy or something like that. Specifically for the meta, you almost always see Wizard as the camo detection option and not so much as the late game defense or early game defense, just because there's better options. But it does slot into the mid game at a really nice pace and cost, making the mid game the most common time that you'll see Wizard Monkey within the current meta. So speaking of the mid game, you'll see this as the camo detection option. It is a low cost alternative to let you get a stronger early game defense and a much healthier economy, allowing you to send more doubles in the early game to get just higher numbers. Some of the other camo detection options cost quite a bit of money. It also has some really strong synergies with other magic towers and a specific hero called Ocean Open. I'll speak about some of the more synergies in a minute, but onto some of the most popular team combinations for a Wizard. So in the mid to higher tier arenas, you'll probably see these team combinations with Wizard. It will be the TAC Wizard Farm, which is one of the most potent all-in strategies from Season 3, which carries over even into Season 5 due to its strength. You may also see Druid, Wizard, and Super. This triple magic team combination pairs really well with Ocean Open. All of them benefit from his +1 pierce he gives to the magic towers. Wizard can act as the solid camo detection option. Druid can be a alternate eco option, and Super scales really well with that Ocean Open tag. Both of these strategies were relatively common in the earlier seasons, but this deep into the game, Season 5 and onwards, there's a few key team compositions that are just at the top constantly. So Wizard's a little bit more rare, but it's still strong and viable, just less used now. So the most common reason you'll see it is usually for the economy. As I said earlier, the Submarine is the most popular camo detection option, but it costs a good amount of money. The Wizard, I think, is less than 3k at the moment to get a full camo detection option up, letting you get it up really quickly at rounds 9 or 10, letting you just full eco up till round 9, or full eco from round 12 to round 17. It's not the best at popping balloons, but it frees up a lot of other options, frees your other towers to do a lot of things. So it can give your build a lot of diversity when you play it. Now for the early game, mid game, and late game. The early game, it's usually not really seen too much. As I said before, there's some other starting towers that just work better than the Wizard. The Wizard can sometimes leak lives if you don't do a very specific build order, usually involving the middle path firewall. Now the 0-2-0 firewall is actually really potent. It can defend against a lot of early game attacks up till the purples. The purples go through it, but the tier 1 middle path ability for Wizard is able to pop purple. It counts as an explosion, the fireball does. So a couple Wizards with the fireball can actually pop through the purple, and then the firewall can clean up the rest. You can successfully defend an all-out round 12 purple camel rush with just Wizards, though it can be kind of sketchy due to the amount of fireballs that you would need. It's usually easier just to take a Wizard as a camo detection and then take an early game tower to pop all of them. Now for the mid game, it's almost always seen as the camo detection option. It's a low cost camo setup and it has solid defense up to round 18. And for the late game, you don't really see Wizard in the late game due to the high costs of the top path and middle path, specifically the Phoenix ability. The Phoenix ability is unable to pop some of the most popular all-in rushes like the fortified green blimps and things like that. So late game, there's a lot better popping options than the Wizard. Wizard's normally a pre-round 22 tower to take. Overall, I would say Wizard is a really solid tower option for players to take in Season 5. I personally run it quite a bit, just out of comfort. It's a nice tower that gets the job done. It's takes very few clicks to actually get up and work compared to some of the other towers, and it's relatively self-sustaining. Players mostly use Wizard as a tech option instead of like a raw damage option, so if you see a Wizard, they're probably using other popping power, but I've seen some players use Wizard as their main damage option and then lose in the late game. Generally, the best way to think of Wizard in its current state is as a substitute for the submarine. Wherever you would place a submarine down, or how you would use a submarine for camo detection, you can usually use the Wizard for the same purpose. And it also has some really strong synergy with other Magic Monkeys, especially Ocean Open. So consider using Ocean Open when you use Wizard Monkey. If you have any strategic insight into Wizard that I may have missed, please leave it in the comments. And if you have another tower or team strategy you'd like me to cover on the channel, please let me know and I may get to it. But I'm out for now.